Hi, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Bryndís, and today I'm going to talk to you about my progress on the Read What You Own challenge that I decided to take part in this year. This challenge actually starts in November. I think it was the 5th of November. So now it's just about the 6-month mark. And I thought I would kind of just go through the books from my shelves that I have read, and also if I'm gonna keep them or not. I'm not necessarily gonna talk about them like in detail about this is not gonna be a review of the books. I've done that already in my reading updates, but I want to just talk about like if I'm thinking that I'm gonna keep them or not. And I've already gotten rid of a few of them so far. And the reason why I might not keep them is simply because my goal for my book collection is to have just books on my shelves that I've read, that I see myself rereading, and books that I just really enjoyed, like 5 stars, some 4 stars, like the top of the notch books that I enjoy looking at and kind of remembering the experience of reading them. So I'm not trying to have a library of books that I haven't read. I find that is actually quite stressful for me personally. So that's why I decided to join this challenge, to try and get rid of all the books that I haven't read. Last year I did a lot of unhauling of books, my unread books, because the year before I had gone somewhat overboard in buying books. I mean, the majority of them were thrifted, so it wasn't like a huge financial burden, but still way too many books for my small space that I live in. And also it just made me stressed to look at books that I hadn't read. So anyway, I don't want to own a lot of unread books. At the moment, my unread books are here, this shelf and this shelf, so these 2 shelves. There are a few books like spattered around, especially like my Stephen King books. They are not in these shelves, but the majority of my unread books are these 2 shelves. And I think my goal is to have no more than 1 shelf of unread books, preferably even less than that. I'm going to first start by going over the books that I have finished and read from my Read What You Own challenge. And I think then we're going to go through these 2 shelves, because I think actually there are going to be books there that I honestly just don't want to read. And if I don't want to read them, there is no reason for me to keep them. But first, before we go into the books that I've read, my progress, so my goal with the Read What You Own challenge was 50 books to reach the silver tier. So there are different tiers, and that you can do that. You can also count words instead of books. So there are different ways to do that. You can read 50, 25, 50, 75, and 100, I think. And so the goal is just to kind of read the books that you own and not continuously be buying books, because I think that the reason you maybe bought the book in the first place is because you want to read it, so you should kind of read it, right? But anyway, I have read 15 books. So I'm definitely far behind on my goal of reaching 50 books by November, being that I'm halfway. I mean, it's still a possibility, but even if I don't reach and I get the silver tier, it's fine. I'm still gonna, continue and get rid of these, get them read or unhaul the books that I haven't read. Because as I said, there is no point of me keeping books on my shelves if I'm not gonna read them. And I would much prefer having space for books for my collection. Okay, so let's dive into the books. As I said, there are actually couple of books that I have read that I've already gotten rid of. And the first 3 books that I read were the second and third book in the Thursday Murder Club, and I really enjoyed them. I thought they were really fun. I enjoy that series. I have not, I think the book 4, I have not, I think I listened to book 4 as an audiobook, or is it book 5? So I'm definitely keeping up with that series, and I want to keep up with that series because I thought they are just cute. They're really cute old people. I'm gonna be a person like that, like solving crime and being like in everybody's business, kind of a Miss Marple character. I can see myself being like that when I am like 80. But I really thought these were fun. But I owned these 2 books in Icelandic, and I feel that if I want to own the physical copies of this series, I think I'm gonna want to own them in the original English and not in the translation. So I decided just to kind of pass them on. I took them to work, and some other people are reading them. And then the 3rd book that I read from my shelves was Never Let Me Go by this author that I completely blanked on. I thought this was a really good book. It was really interesting because I read it almost immediately after I read Book of Guild by Catherine Chichley, and there's definitely a similar themes in these books. But I really enjoyed it, but at the same time, I don't feel that I needed to keep it, so I decided to just unhaul that one as well. The 4th book that I read was Anxious People by Fredrik Backman. I have it in the Icelandic translation. I actually listened to it as an audiobook in the English translation, but I think I'm gonna want to read it again at some point, and it's just fun owning it, having it, and I think that I actually want to own everything by Fredrik Backman. He's one of my favorite authors. So this is a book that I'm gonna keep for my collection. The 5th book was Christine by Stephen King. I actually started to read this book in 2024, but I kind of just soft DNF'd it. It kind of just faded away. I have a Stephen King project ongoing, so I want to read. I'm currently reading all the books he published in his first decade of publishing books, which Christine is in that category. But I finished it in January, and so Christine, and I want to keep. This is definitely a book that I want to keep. I bought it recently, like just before I think it was just before I started the challenge in this edition, because I have quite a few of his books in this edition, and this is a book that I definitely want to keep for my collection. And then we have Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. Elizabeth Gaskell is one of my favorite authors, classical authors for sure, Victorian authors for sure. And I've loved everything that she has ever written. This one it started off very slowly for me. And there was a while there I was just like, am I actually gonna DNF an Elizabeth Gaskell book? But then, after the halfway mark, it really picked up, and I ended up actually really enjoying it and really loving it. I would say that it's probably, though, my least favorite of her books so far. I still have a few of her books that I haven't read. But I like her writing style. I really enjoy her kind of societal criticism, and her love stories are beautiful. Her novel, North and South, I think is probably one of my all-time favorite books. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping Mary Barton by Elizabeth Gaskell. And then another book that I think I'm actually not gonna keep, but that is Right Ho Jeeves by P.G. Wodehouse. I would love to read more of the Jeeves and Wooster series, but I think that I would actually really like to own them in either just this is obviously a thrifted old copy. I think I would really like to own them in maybe just like a anthology, or in like a nicer edition, because there are a lot of happy memories from my childhood connected to these books or the TV shows, really. So I would definitely want to have them, but I think I'm actually gonna get rid of this copy. And then we have one of my all-time favorite books, and that is A Day of Fallen Night by Samantha Shannon. This is actually a prequel to The Priory of the Orange Tree, but it's in kind of the same, so it's in the same world building, same religion, and kind of characters are like connected to the characters in the Orange Tree. This is so good. Oh, this is so good. This is definitely a series that I'm gonna want, or trilogy. I don't know if it's gonna be a series or a trilogy. I know the third book is out. And this is a series or book trilogy series that I'm definitely gonna want to read again. And I love, these are beautiful books. So I'm definitely keeping these. In February, I read Camilla by Frances Burney. And I read it as an audiobook. This one was really good. Again, started off quite slow, and there was a time there that I was just like, oh my God, come on, whoa. Was not very enthusiastic about it, but again, it picked up, and I really enjoyed it, at least in the end, and really had a lot of fun moments listening to the audiobook of this book. I think that I also would like to own Frances Burney's books. I own already Evelina, and there is also, I think, this is Camilla, and the other one is Cecilia, I think. And that's a book that I want to get my hands on as well. And I'm also a bit of a fan of the Oxford Editions books, like both the Penguin Classics, the Black Spine Penguin Classics, as well as the Oxford. They're kind of my favorite of the classics. I think they really look very nice. But yeah, this one was a good book, and I'm definitely keeping that. And then we have another book that I don't think I'm actually gonna keep, and that is Conversation with Friends by Sally Rooney. It wasn't, I didn't not enjoy it, like I finished it. I think I gave it 4 stars I think I only gave it 3 stars. I can't remember, but I'm not gonna read it again. I'm not sure that Sally Rooney's style is necessarily for me, at least not this book. I would like to read Normal People, and I think also Intermezzo, but then again, I'm not sure if I actually want to read them. So yeah, I'm happy that I read it, and I bought this book actually in Maynooth in Ireland when I was there a couple of years ago. But so it's kind of almost like a souvenir as well, a book by an Irish author that I bought in Ireland. But honestly, I don't think I'm gonna keep it, because I don't see myself reading it again, and I didn't really enjoy it that much. This one I also read, Enter Ghost by Isabella Hamad. This was fantastic. So this takes place in Palestine, in the West Bank for the most part, and this was so good, so gripping, so so this is definitely a book I want to keep having in my collection, at least for now. I don't know if I'm necessarily interested in rereading it, but maybe in a few years, maybe I will, who knows. But I can always then reevaluate if I'm actually gonna keep it or not. But for now, I'm keeping it, because it was just really kind of thought-provoking. And then my favorite book of the year so far, Andy Weir's Project Hail Mary, 100% keeping that, fantastic. I really wish I had it in a different edition, because I've seen the edition with where he's like, I don't know, it looks different. I think that one looks much nicer. I'm still gonna keep it. And this is a book I'm pretty sure definitely I'm gonna read again. Then we have a book that I found very difficult to read, and that is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. And I'm very happy that I actually finished it, but I don't think I'm gonna keep it because this is not a book I'm gonna want to read again. If I wanna read it again, it's a type of book that's gonna be easy for me to get my hands on. And I honestly don't think I will ever read it again. I mean, I'm happy that I read it, that I kind of got it out of my system, that I need to read Crime and Punishment. And I don't think it's a bad book. Obviously, it's a master like classical masterpiece. But maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace when I read it. But it's very like the anxiety and everything is just so heavy in this book. The writing is phenomenal for sure, but I don't think that I'm actually gonna keep it. I don't feel that I want to look at it on my shelves and remember how hard I found reading it. So yeah, that one is going. Here is another classic, Martin Chuzzlewit by Charles Dickens. Keeping this. I loved it. I'm loving Dickens. I'm on a mission to read all of his books, and I want to probably own all of his books as well. So I'm definitely keeping Martin Chuzzlewit. And then the last book that I actually just finished yesterday, and that is Kristín Hanna's The Nightingale. And this book is phenomenal. I will talk about it. I think after you see this video. I haven't decided. Maybe after or before. We'll see. But I'm definitely gonna keep this because this is a book that I think that I'm gonna want to at some point read again. I did listen to it as an audiobook, so I think it's gonna be nice to have the copy, physical copy, to remind myself of how much I loved it. And also to remind myself to find more of her books and read them as well. So I'm here down on the floor with my unread books. Before we go into this shelf, I'm just going to show you the books that I own that are Stephen King, because I do have quite a few unread Stephen King books. And first of all, the ones that are part of my project at the moment, which is to read his books published in his first decade of publishing, which is 1974 through 1983, so 10 years. And I have, like I said, I have a few of books that I definitely gonna want to read. Not necessarily this year. Some of these I can definitely read this year, but not all of them. So I have the Night Shift, which is a short story collection. So these books that I'm showing you were all published in that first decade. The Night Shift, it was published I think in 78, 8 and 9 or something like that. Then I have Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption, which is a novella. I can see myself reading this maybe in September, for shorty September. I have Cujo, which I'm very scared to read because little baby dog. And then I have The Gunslinger, the first in the Dark Tower. I have more Dark Tower books, which were published, I think, after, so in his second decade. So I have a Dark Tower novel, The Wind Through the Keyhole, which is not, I think it's not in the series, because I also have the Dark Tower #2, The Drawing of the Three. So I have, but this is not like number anything. So I'm thinking that The Gunslinger is #1, this is #2. I'm a little bit sad that they are not in the same edition, but it's a problem for another day when I decide if I'm actually gonna keep them or not. I actually have Holly. I was just in the bookstore. This is a little bit of a cheat because I was in the bookstore the other day and I was actually buying some Poirot. I'm allowed to buy books that I have read. So I bought Poirot, and I think I also bought No, I didn't. I was thinking about buying that. And I actually bought this one as well because it was on sale, half price off. And this is, I'm not going to read this anytime soon because it was published in 2023, I think. But, you know, maybe I will read it and not necessarily follow my project very strictly. And then I also have it, which I got at the thrift store a couple years ago. So I do have quite a few more Stephen King's that I'm definitely gonna get to at some point. But then here we have my unread books. I have categorized them in that the top shelf is classical and modern classics and modern classics. And down here is like temporary, contemporary, fantasy, different types of books. So I think what I want to do is I want to go through them and just tell you what books they are. And can you come a little bit closer? And because I think there are a few books here that honestly, I don't think there are a lot, but there are a couple here that I honestly don't think I'm gonna read ever. So I have The Master and the Margarita by Mikhail Bulgakov. I think I'm gonna read that. I have Don Quixote that I'm definitely gonna read. I have Armadale by Wilkie Collins. Yeah, I'm sure I'm gonna want to read that at some point. These are all very big books. And then I have here my unread Charles Dickens. I have David Copperfield. I have Hard Times, Little Dorrit, Tale of Two Cities, and Great Expectations. And obviously I want to read all of Charles Dickens, so I'm keeping that. I have two Dostoevskys, The Brothers Karamazov and The Idiot. Even though I didn't really enjoy Crime and Punishment, I don't feel that I've been turned off Dostoevsky, so I'm definitely gonna keep these. And here I have Madame Bovary by Gustave Flaubert. And to be honest with you, okay, I'm gonna keep it because you never know. But no, to be honest with you, I know that it's like I think that even, I'm gonna listen to it as an audiobook. And even if I might, because it's a new copy. I bought it new. So I think I'm gonna keep it in case I really love it. The Confidential Agent by Graham Greene. What I've read by Graham Greene so far, I really enjoyed. So is this only one book? Oh yeah, so it's part 1 and part 2, okay. And yeah, I like these kind of old spy books, so I'm gonna keep that. I have two Thomas Hardy's, Tess of the D'Urberville and Far from the Madding Crowd. I have never read anything by Thomas Hardy, but I've heard really good things, and mostly I've heard that he destroys you. They're very kind of emotionally heavy, so I've been a little bit scared, but I do definitely want to read his books, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love them. And then we come to the controversial thing that I've been thinking about doing for a while, and that is I own Finnegan's Wake in this edition. Which I bought new, and I also own Ulysses. I'm not a fan of this edition, and you know what? I'm gonna get rid of them. I'm not gonna read James Joyce. I know I'm supposed to be serious reader of the classics, but I think also if I would ever read them, I would listen to them as an audiobook. And if I feel that these are books that I really enjoy, I'm gonna want to have them in a different edition. I would get them probably in the Penguin Black Spine Classics. So I'm gonna get rid of them. This feels very wasteful because I bought both of these as new copies. The Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, The Metamorphosis. I think I'm gonna wanna read these. I have Camilla by Sheridan Le Fanu. I'm gonna keep that. Phantom of the Opera, Beloved by Toni Morrison. I have here The Vampire and Other Stories, which is and Other Tales of the Macabre, which is kind of these vampire stories that came, I think, before Frankenstein. And like Dracula, not Frankenstein, Dracula by, what's his name? The Dracula guy, Bram Stoker. I have Anne Radcliffe's The Romance of the Forest. I want to read that at some point either for Regency February or something like that. I have Sir Walter Scott's Waverley. I definitely want to read that. And then I have Jekyll and Mr. Hyde and Other Tales. So I have a lot of books to read for like shorty September, and also for like, if I want to read something in October, like for Halloween. I generally don't necessarily read based on seasons, stuff like that, but I like to read based on events. Okay, so I did get a few books off here, so yeah, I feel really good not having James Joyce there. One of my favorite classical short story collection is James Joyce's Dubliners, but that one is way different from these books. So, okay, so now we are going to the lower shelves. I don't think that there are gonna be a lot of books here. I have Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. I have to read that. Then I have Bear Town by Frederick Backman, as well as, was it Grandma Says something? Grandma Says Goodbye or something. I'm gonna want to read them I have, I have to read this one, House of Fortune by Jessie Burton. I've been planning to read it for like 2 years and I never get to it. I loved her first book, this is kind of a sequel. The book was The Miniature, fantastic book. So I'm sure I'm gonna love this one. And then we have All the Light We Cannot See, that I'm definitely gonna read. I have Before the Coffee Gets Cold. You know what? I think I'm gonna get rid of this. I think I'm gonna probably read this book, but as an audiobook, and I don't wanna keep it. Like, I don't want it in my collection. I have Claire Keegan's Antarctica. I loved her Small Things Like These, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna love this. This is a short story collection, so I'm gonna keep that. Barbara Kingsolver's Demon Copperhead. I'm waiting to read this until after I've read David Copperfield by Charles Dickens, so I'm keeping that. And then here I have a book called Electra by Jennifer Saint. I don't know, I've been looking at it and it just doesn't call to me at all. I'm not gonna get rid of these books until a couple of weeks, like I'm gonna let them sit. So please let me know if you read it and you really enjoyed it, because I think I'm actually gonna get rid of it. We have The Bandit Queens by Parini Shroff. I want to read that. And then we have The Secret History by Donna Tartt that I'm definitely gonna read. And then we have here my kind of fantasy, Olivia Blake's The Atlas Six. So I have here, I think all of these, let me see, okay. These are just fantastic copies of The Color of Magic and The Light Fantastic, the first books in the Discworld by Terry Pratchett. But I also have them in this edition. So I haven't decided which edition I'm gonna keep. I think this one was my brother's, who's passed away, so it's kind of sentimental. But these are kind of maybe also kind of a little bit nicer. But I want to at some point read the Discworld series, but that one is like so many books. And so I have no idea when I'll get to it, but I'm gonna keep these. I have here The Frugal Wizard's Handbook for Surviving Medieval England by Brandon Sanderson. I started to listening to it as an audiobook and I thought it was just ridiculous. So I'm gonna try to read it as a physical book at some point. I'm thinking that maybe it was just the audiobook that wasn't good, not necessarily the book. And yeah, I'm gonna keep it for now. And then I have here these 3 books that are all first books in series. And there is Olivia Blake's Atlas 6. I have Malice by John Gwynne. And then The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. And I know that I want to read the Atlas series 100%. So I'm gonna keep this probably, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love it. And if I love it, I'm gonna want to own the series as as books. And so I think I'm gonna keep this until I know in what type of an edition I will be able to get the other books, because this one was thrifted, but it's in really good condition. So I'm gonna keep it for now until I figure out the rest of the series and how they're gonna look like. So I want my series to match. The other series that I know that I'm gonna want to read and I know I'm gonna keep is John Gwynne's Malice. I think this is called the Faithful and the Fallen series. So this is book 1, and I'm 100% gonna read this. I've been kind of wanting to read it for a while, but I've had so many other, like I was reading Samantha Shannon, and I think I was also reading something else, and I didn't want to start to read this when I only have the first book. I would like to try to finish some of the books that I have for this challenge, but this is definitely going to be, this is high on my list of fantasy series to get started on. And with everything that people have told me and what I've seen, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. So, and here's the same thing. I'm going to keep it, and then when I've read the series or listened to it probably as an audiobook, I can then buy the rest of the series and see if they match. And then, so I'm definitely gonna keep that. And it's kind of the same with The Three-Body Problem. This is more of a sci-fi. Sorry, my legs are. And yeah, I think I have this as an audiobook as well, so I'm gonna just see how I feel with the first book and decide if I'm gonna keep on with the series. So I'm definitely keeping that. If I love it, I'm also gonna want to own the series. So these are the books that I'm keeping here. And obviously Terry Pratchett's, I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with those books. I don't need to have 2 copies of the same book, 2 editions, but yeah, I'm not ready to get rid of it. I have here obviously this one I'm keeping. Can I lower you a little bit? Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell by Susanna Clarke. I'm gonna read that soon, hopefully. I have a really fun book that I actually bought in Ireland called The Dublin Railway Murder, the sensational true story of a Victorian murder mystery. And yeah, well, I'm keeping that because this is gonna sounds like fun. And then here I have the Penguin Book of Murder Mysteries. So these are all sorts of different, so this is an anthology of lost treasures to read alongside Edgar Allan Poe and Sherlock Holmes. So these are, I think these are, yeah, these are 19th century murder mysteries. I don't know any of the authors, so I think it could possibly be fun to discover something new, kind of forgotten authors. Maybe not, we'll see, but anyway. And then I have Agatha Christie's biography by Lucy Worsley that I've been planning to read for a while now. 15 books done. We'll see if how many I get by the end of this challenge. And I am currently reading one book. Is it one book? Yeah, I'm reading The Stand by Stephen King, which is also on the list. So, I am slowly getting through these books, and but I'm also really enjoying it. This does not feel like heavy or like a burden or anything like that. I know that so many people who started this challenge have either finished it, they managed to read the books they wanted to read, or the word or the pages they wanted to read, or they just gave up and figured out that this wasn't for them, which is also fine. Like this is just reading, it's not that serious. But I'm still enjoying it, so I'm definitely gonna continue on. And yeah. Let me know what I should do with these books that I told you that I'm gonna get rid of. Should I read them? And have you read any of the books that I talked about? Any of the books that I've talked about? Let's have a talk in the discussion in the comments below. And thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.